Cue the music. Ba ba bum 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 ba bum bum ba 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 bum ba bum. Yes, tonight it is time not for Top Gear. It is time for another live stream. We have some FPV news. It has been a bit of a good week in FPV. Whilst all hell is going on everywhere else in the world, we have new firmware from Caddx for Avatar HD with a new auto feature, among a couple of other things. We have a hint of a new product from Caddx, which is the GT2. We also have HGLRC, who are finally admitting that not only is their system based on Artosyn, they are confirming that it is part of the Artlink ecosystem, which means it will be compatible with Beta FPV's P1 ear unit and goggles, which means we have a VRX module. However, not everything is good news, because if you haven't seen the pricing yet, you may want to sit down when it comes to VTXs. We're going to talk about the fact that the memory AI shortage bubble is finally starting to hit FPV. It was inevitable. It was always going to happen. And we're just going to talk about the fact that Radiomaster are making a few changes to a couple of their products. I don't really think it's a big deal. There's some people who are getting a bit upset about it, but we'll talk about that as well. And we'll talk about lots of other things as we move through the stream. So, hello to everyone who is here. I hope you are all safe and well. I hope you've all had a good week. It has been horrific weather here for me. It's just been rough. I managed to fly an hour ago. Not even FPV. Something else. But yeah, I was flying about an hour ago, trying to just get a few videos over the line. I've built up a bit of a war chest of content which will be spilling out over the next 2 weeks. And then I do things, I should say, like that silly video I did today, because I stayed up very late last night vibe coding the OBS app, for those who haven't seen that. For those who hadn't seen the video I put out today, I vibe coded an app that automatically identifies the chips through a camera, through OBS, through Claude Code. There's an arm missing in Avatar. It was one of those things I thought, I'll try it, and then 3 hours later it's like, wow, I've done this. And I genuinely have to say, it in itself is really, really cool. For those who haven't seen it, it's just a cool thing. Not everything you end up doing sometimes is cool, but this was. Let me just find the script for it. What did I call the folder? I can't remember what I called the folder. 1 second. We will... Vibe is what I called it. And for those who haven't seen it, it's quite cool. It's here's something interesting. JB has spent yesterday vibe coding as well. What is the chances of that? I watched JB stream and he's done something quite cool as well. More FPV centric than electronic centric like I did. But JB has done something cool, and I just thought it's interesting, isn't it? We were both doing things at the same time. So let me open this up and show you this a minute. Let's see if this works, and we'll go to the desktop view, which is this one here. And basically, what I created, let me skip through to show you it, is an app that basically goes through OBS. Let me mute my own microphone. And it will scan the image. I haven't got it set up on this live now because this is set up for 1080p and this is a 4K stream. But this is this was it there, and then what you do, it'd be easy to enable. It's just I'd have to reconfigure it because it's set up for 1080p, not 4K. But and what it will do, is it ever going to do it on this one? Oh, that's more talking than actually demonstration. Is it this one where I show it on? Let's have a look. Come on. There we go. So here, what happens is I hit the space bar, which tells the script to go look off, and it identifies the chip. And yeah, it will then bring up what it is. And it's not perfect, you know, there you go. And it identified that it's an STM32H563 and bring up the spec. And it's just one of those things that I was like, wouldn't it be easy if I could just find an easy way of identifying some of this stuff as I'm making content when I'm doing teardowns? And that's where it started. And there's also a browser extension as well for it. And it's not JavaScript. Why I had JavaScript in my head because I was listening to something earlier. It's a Python script that runs on the computer, connects to Claude, and then runs as an OBS browser extension, a browser source, and it just does it. And yeah, genuinely, I've put it up on GitHub if anyone's interested. I shoved it up on Git today. I even got Claude to write the GitHub for it as well. So there, I've hit space. It's going to scan it. It'll identify the chip, and then it'll bring up the technical information for it. It's just like, wow. Okay, how did I even make this do this? Yeah, absolutely. Someone said, I see a script running on some hardware like a Raspberry Pi with a local language model built into a microscope. Absolutely. No, I didn't publish my API key. No, I didn't publish that. Will it work on any chip? Yes and no. So, just to give you an idea, in the video I do show, we have a look at a HD0 chip as well. So, in this one here, we put the HD0 divi map, and there isn't a lot of information on there online, but it does figure out roughly what it is. But this is obviously using Claude API. I did try it with a local model using Olama and Lava, and it's struggling because that's using OCR and trying to read the chip itself. But yeah, you'll see here in a second. I was setting it up at this point. I'm trying to think how easy it would be to do live. I hadn't configured it to 4K. I use a 4K base canvas for most of my recordings. You may notice the quality in the video isn't very good because I had to create a new mode in OBS and I forgot to set the bitrate above 2500. But you'll see here in a second. Where is it? It'll identify the DiviMath chip. Yeah, we definitely need a better local model for it. Now, this isn't even OCR. This is actually the image is being sent to Claude. And this is the browser view, because there's a browser view for it as well. The image is being sent to Claude, and then it's going to do the inference in the background, and then bring the data back. So you can see this. So this here... no, sorry, this was the local model. This wasn't the DiviMath model. That was the local model. It wouldn't pick up the DiviMath chipset. But yeah, look, it should work on anything where there's info. So this is the... this now should be the Claude model. And you should see the results come up of Claude. DiviMath U1 DM856T. DiviMath networking or communication processor IC. Yeah, the problem you get is on the likes of LCSC and DigiKey, a lot of the images and footprints don't directly match the markings on the IC. And here's where you get problems. Like if you look at that motor driver I showed you just now, right, the STM32 is fairly straightforward, right? This motor driver. So TI have some quite annoying markings at times. Let me just bring the motor driver up full screen. Where is it? There. So TI are really bad for some of their markings. So you need inference for it to be able to look at the image and try and identify it. AliExpress, yeah, it's a hard one. OCR plus 35% local unique. Yeah, Junus has some ideas. He's been messaging me. So Junus has some ideas of things to try on this. So yeah, look, it's early days. I literally built this in 3 or 4 hours in total, something like that. Well, I built this already. Okay. For those who are interested, it is up on GitHub. So I have put it up on GitHub myself under OBS chip scanner. It's there for you to see, for you to try. I have to say, I'm blown away with Claude, because I asked it as well to write me up the GitHub info, and it just did it. This is all from Claude. Even tells you the differences. And there's a hybrid Olama stroke web database version as well, which does both. The hybrid version looks OCR locally and then looks online, but again, it's struggling. OCR is a bit of a problem. But yeah, look, I'd love to show you live. Unfortunately, I've got the browser source on the microscope, which is this one here, which is powered down. But interesting. The camera is... Yeah. I wonder. Let's have a look. Let's see. Let me bring the microscope down, because the microscope was up. We'll need the microscope for this. 2 seconds. Let me power it on. One second. I also need to enable my API key because I shut it down on purpose. I shut the API key down on purpose just to make sure. Let's just focus. Okay, so let's get this the right way around. A minute. That's not particularly good to see. And 1 second. Let me just go to the file. So, just to show you, if we go to the desktop, I've got the web view up. So, if I now start the script, let's let it kick in and let's see if this runs. Before we get into it, let's see if it runs. Connecting. I'm just waiting for it to kick in. There's a bit of a delay. Hopefully it'll kick any second. Ooh, I wonder if it's rejecting my API key. I created a batch file to allow it to kick in. And that looks like that's failed. Let me just see. One moment. It's not kicked in by now, so I might have to do it manually. Oh, no, here we go. We're up. Boom. Okay. So, we're up. Okay, so if we go back to the overhead scope. So, you are now looking live at the scope output. So, I am going to hit my spacebar. The scan has been triggered. And let's see if it behaves. Because it's a 4K window at the moment, so I haven't tried this. Boom, there we go. You can see it has detected what it is. ESP32 Pico D4 microcontroller. So if I just swap that out a second, and we're going to bring in, here we have a KISS Ultra. That MCU is a bit marked on the top, so I don't know. Look, let's be fair, it's probably going to struggle on that. Let's see if it can understand what that is. Let's try that there, shall we? I don't know if it is going to be able to identify that, but let's give it a show. Let's see if it will pick that one out. Yeah, it's struggling. BAJV236HBV. Likely illogical. Yeah, it can't identify that. Let's try a couple of others. See, it's not going to work with everything. We've got the motor driver. I got a bunch of ICs here, like that I used. So here's an example. So what we got on here? It's an STM32. It's one of the ones I tried earlier. Just running it now. There you go. It's picked up. That's the STM32. I'm trying to think what else I've got in front of me I can use it on. Is there a number on top of that I see? It's not going to be able to read that. It needs to be able to actually read the component as well. We have to be fair to it, in all fairness. Yeah, you're not reading that. There's bugger all left on that. As I said, with the Divi Math chip I used, you can see the square is a bit smaller now because this is a 4K screen. So it's not ideally sized for this size screen. I'd need to actually increase the size. So there you can find it's the Divi Math chip. Is there anything else? I'm just trying to see literally what I've got random I can throw at it that it might recognize. I'm just looking in my scrapboard box. Ooh. Interesting. I wonder if it can read that. That's the Toshiba. Yeah, let's give that a shot, shall we? Let's see. I know what it is. It's a display. It's a... Yeah. You need something just to try and get the ICs. Toshiba display bridge IC. Look, it's picked that up. So I'm not going to pretend it's perfect. But it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I wonder what it makes out of this. I wonder if it'll recognize this. I know what this is. I wonder if it knows what this is. I don't think that's a bit big for it to try and do. Error, yeah. It can't figure out what that is. It's not big enough to pick it up. Let me make it... let's go a little bit higher up. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, that one's actually damaged on the top, so it's not the best sample, if I'm honest. So what we got here? Ooh, let's see if it picks up the AT. Let's have a look. The problem with using OCR is not everything is able to pick up. Can you invert the value from the scope? Yeah, I probably can invert the output from the menu and then... So there you go, AT745E, single chip OSD controller using FPV drone. So look, it really does work very, very well. Yeah, you are right. I can't change it though. You can only change the settings on this camera. Can you change it via USB or HDMI? I think it's menu. Oh no, there we go. Where's invert? No, I'm trying to... Oh God, what's that done? I might have killed the camera. Oh God, I've changed something on the camera. Oh, we're back. I can't see invert there. That's changing. This camera has horrible settings. Is it system? No. There's got to be a way to invert the image on this. Can't do it easily there. So, but look, I just wanted to show it to you. It does work. It is a real thing. It wasn't made up. I vibe coded it. How this even happened, I still can't quite get my head around. So yeah, there you go. Just did it live there. If I press C, it clears the screen, or if I press space, it shoves it in again. And just to show you, so here on the desktop view, here is the pipeline, so you can see it there. If I just pop that there, you can see that's what it does. If I just go down a bit and put that down there, you'll see if I tell it to do a scan is triggered and it heads off. And then it picks it up from there. Now, yeah, that's really it. It really is as simple as that. No one is more surprised than me it even works. That I can promise you. Just shut that down. Move the microscope because it's in the way. No one is more surprised than me it even works. So if you're interested in seeing it, it's all on GitHub. Free of charge. I ended up paying for Claude Pro. I learned a lot about using Claude. Never used it before. I literally sat down and went, oh, it'll use a few tokens. If you're doing the images, yeah. Although there is some debate over how much tokens it's using. We're trying to work it out because the website might be wrong. I said like 70.7 of a dollar, whatever that is in cents, 70 cents. Is there 100 cents in a dollar? I don't know. I was surprised how Painless was able to make my USB to ELRS. So yeah, look, I got a few ideas in my head that I'd like to try a few more things. Cent 100. Just didn't know. You can't assume these things. That's the thing with something like this. USB joystick to express ELRS. Yeah, look, there's some cool opportunities with it. So yeah, look, that's what we did today. Right, we need to get on with the show. Next, we need to talk about Caddx. Yes, everyone's favourite subject. So, this week, Caddx have pushed out quite a big firmware update for Avatar HD, but they've also hinted about a new product coming as well. So, for instance, Caddx had posted, where is it? This on Facebook and other places showing Leap with heart into a future where it may not work. No, on the 13th of April, something is coming. Someone has already looked at it, and basically it looks like it's the GT2 VTX. The update log for the new firmware that Caddx have released also says added support for Avata GT2 air unit. So the basics are, it's coming. It's coming. Now, alongside support for the Avata GT2, we've got added 2000 watts auto option to adjust the issues of signal saturation in low signal bars close range. So when people have it on the maximum power, there's now an auto power option by the look of it in 2000 milliwatts. They've added Avatar VRX background image feature. It supports custom replacement because, hey, we all wanted to put an image on the back of our VRX. And they have added Avatar Auto Channel feature. Now, this confused me a little bit at first because I swear Avatar had auto channels already. However, it didn't. It had auto scan, which it would scan the channels for interference, but it wasn't auto. Now, though, they have added an auto option. This has come from one of the guys on my Discord. There is an auto setting here for the system, and I have already done the RF testing on this. There is a video coming on this, but I can confirm that Caddx have now added an auto channel feature. I'm not going to call it hopping because it isn't frequency hopping, it's channel hopping. The auto channel feature will automatically switch between channels. It isn't completely variable frequency, so it is only changing within the available channels that you have. So it might move from channel 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, as an example, in the event there's interference on the channel. In my initial testing with this, when it hops, it does sort of drop or freeze the link for a second. It certainly isn't as well polished as DJI's channel and frequency hopping. DJI actually, with 04, completely frequency hop, and whilst it's not FHSS, DJI will step up and down within a specific bandwidth of frequency, not necessarily sticking within the channel allocation. So just to explain what I mean by that, Avatar can hop from channel 1 to channel 2 to channel 3 to channel 4. Whilst DJI has its channel 1 to 7 in 20 and 10 megahertz modes, or channel 1 to 3 in 40 and 60, it can actually step around within a bandwidth, even 1 megahertz up and down. I've literally seen DJI in my testing when I was sort of putting a frequency over the top of it, just doing this, stepping down one at a time. I actually have it in a video. You can chase DJI around the band, step it down and step it up, whereas Avatar is moving the different channels. I have actually done the recording of this. The real question is, where the hell is that? Because I recorded that in OBS, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure what folder that's gone into. Let me just have a look a moment. There are a couple of folders it could have ended up in, so let me just check this for a moment. And there's a couple of folders here I can't show you, so we do have to be a little bit careful. I'll know what it looks like as soon as I see it. Let me just let that scan. And I'll try and show you a little bit of it. But I have recorded it, but I didn't pay much attention to what folder I was in at the time. I really do need to rebuild this PC. It's running like an absolute dog. Doesn't look like it's that one. Let's wait for this one to wake up. Unfortunately, sometimes I end up recording stuff and then not paying attention of where it was actually recorded to, because I generally record into a project folder each time, but sometimes when I'm messing with stuff, I'll go, oh, just hit record and not realize where I was. Oh, I think there's a good chance I found it. Okay, so if I show you, oh, okay, or not. So here is an example. If I just show you here, so this is the Avatar HD signal. And what you will see is I brought DJI in and then it moved. So just to show you that again, I was using DJI on 04 to move the channels manually in race mode. So I was moving onto the Avatar channel with DJI 04 intentionally in manual mode. So what you'll see there, that's the Avatar channel, and you'll see in a minute another carrier appear. There you go, that's the DJI one, and boom, you can see Avatar has hopped down there. I then moved down there, and I think I moved DJI either next to it or on top of it next. So there we go. I put DJI on it and Avatar moved instantly down to there. And then I moved DJI again. I think I put it next to it. There you go. And it moved instantly. Look how quick that moved. At times, it's really quick. So DJI will move, boom, and then it's moved to there. It's not always this fast, though, I'll be honest. There are times where it wasn't hopping at all. What I found was if I stuffed it directly on top of it and then Avatar moved back up to there, and then I moved DJI back up next to it. Oh, that was the end of the video there, was it? Yeah. But I can't say it was the same all the time. There are periods where I moved DJI onto it and it didn't hop. This is Avatar. Let me bring DJI in. I'm not sure if I've got... There you go. So there's DJI there, look. Next to it. So I then bring it in and it moved. Might be earlier in the video I was having trouble. It wasn't always working as well as you would expect. Oh, did I not record it when it was playing up? That's a point. I might not have recorded it. No. So, what I found was this. If I can get a channel to go directly on top of it, it will hop. But if I get a channel to sort of overlap it, it didn't want to hop. And it was a bit weird. I don't think it's the most sensitive, but it does work. So you'll see in a second, we'll move DJI and then boom, it moves instantly. I did have some issues, but remember, this is at close saturation range as well. So look, it definitely works. Not working as you expect. Yeah, and look, what I found is this. Here, it looked really good. Where I had issues is when I shoved DJI onto like 40 megahertz. And it didn't do it, but I haven't recorded that. So to be fair here, it looks perfect. But there were periods where it wasn't 100%. But look, it works. And that's the important part here to show that it does work. So Caddx have added it and they've replaced the auto refresh with, I think it's there. So they've replaced it with that there. And yeah, I think a new feature like this needs a lot of testing. I would be cautious about it because Caddx is really quite dumb in comparison to DJI 04. So if you think about 04 is full dynamic bandwidth, full dynamic power, full channel frequency hopping without any loss. You can watch on the analyzer DJI hop through channels and you see nothing on the goggles. Genuinely, you don't even see a flicker on the goggle when DJI shifts. Whereas I can tell you the Avatar will sort of stutter and then come back. One concern I have had is what happens if it channel hops at great range when your signal is already really low. Is there a minimum establishment power or signal level, carrier to noise ratio, for the link to re-establish if it hops? What I don't know is there a hopping plan that it's all pre-agreed with? We're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, 04 is incredibly dynamic, whereas Avatar isn't. Avatar is fixed bandwidth, fixed power, and has been fixed channel until now. So it's a lot dumber in comparison. So look, use with caution is my advice, just because it is something so new. Alongside this, they do say they've made some changes. Fixed abnormal channel settings issue in high bitrate mode. Don't know what that one was. Optimize the issue of flight controller OSD not refreshing weak signal. Changed the ground unit single cell voltage. Fixed abnormal low temperature display. Fixed OSD interface lag issue. Fixed HDMI output compatibility with Goggles X and Ascent. An updated OSD font library. So, there's a bunch of issues. Now, unfortunately, there's a gotcha in here. And I really do wish Caddx wouldn't release firmware with a gotcha. And frankly, any manufacturer release firmware with a gotcha. Bearing in mind how long it's been since we've had a release, Moonlight recordings in version 39.44.15 do not support the .osd files. This is expected to be fixed in the next version. If you base their version in time, that could be a long way away. If we have a look on Walksnail Hub, 8th of December was 39.44.5. I believe that is the official last firmware, if I'm right. If we just go to support, let's go to the bottom. Avatar 38.43.44.4. So look, you got 44.4 and 44.5, okay, and then 44.15. So 44.4 was September, 44.5. That's like a 3 months wait, and that's like 6 months. I hope they're not going to take too long. It is hard to not be critical of a regression in support for a feature, because what this is regression. And it is hard not to be critical of regression in firmware releases. Look, I know I'll be said I'm the Caddx hater, but the truth is, it is not acceptable to release firmware that takes away an existing feature. Now, the good news is you don't have to update. So you're not forced to use it. You're not forced to use it. However, it's pretty shit. Let's be honest, to do that. What I don't know is how you'd get on with updating your goggles to the new firmware and leaving the Moonlight on the older firmware. You can probably do that. I just find it very odd to release a firmware with a bug like that, and surely that's simple to fix and should have been out. I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get that. I'm guessing it was found at the last minute before release and they pushed ahead. Is what I'm guessing. But it is a good update. There's lots in there. We have to be thankful for that, I guess. So look, that's it. So the new firmware is out. It's got a hopping feature. It's good to see. It's progress. It's nice to see Avata still moving forward. I will order the GT once it's available because they ain't gonna send me one. That's for sure. It's a strange situation I'm in. Who'd have thought I'm getting stuff from DJI before Caddx? That's weird. That's a weird situation. But yeah. I'll order it as soon as it comes. What I would say with it is I wouldn't expect too much from this. Sorry, I've just seen someone's comment. Chris, you broke me. Chris Hammond won. I failed to leap with heart. You had me there. Yeah. Yeah, you got me. What I would say is this. The original GT was frankly a mess of a product. Mine is here. If we just go to the overhead, the GT, there are many things about this VTX that were a mess. They literally released it at the same time as their gimbals, yet there wasn't a gimbal connector, so you had to wire this up like this because there's a spare UART internally. The low power mode behavior on it is messy as hell. It basically doesn't work, but other than that, and it's a bloody big VTX, but this new one's big as well. But look, it was a bit of a mess, okay, that's for sure. So hopefully Caddx have learned their lessons, and yeah, it should solve a lot of the issues that this had. What I would say though is, don't expect this to be some magical, or you're going to get even more range. Once you get above a watt and a half, you know, 2 watts isn't really going to help that much in clear environment. There's a lot of people who've got good range on 1 watt compared to 2 watt, very similar performance. And the reality is, more power on digital will help if you're trying to cut through noise and interference. It won't really help if you're in clear air. Okay, the reality is, yes, you got the normal rule, but the reality is, in clean air, as I term it, which is RF congestion free, you're going to see about the same. Where you do see the benefit is more power is in congested RF environments, or somewhere where there might be, I don't know, signal blocking in place. So if you think about, I wonder why we're seeing products from Ascent with like 4 watts. What use case would that be? Signal blocking. Those use cases. That's what that's about. We haven't heard any more about Ascent. Okay? Just so everyone knows. Ascent still seems a weird product in relation to Avata. I don't really understand why we don't have higher power VTXs for Ascent from Caddx. I just do not understand it. Why, when it comes to Ascent, we still have 100 milliwatt VTX. You know, where is the Avatar equivalent VTXs for Ascent? You know, if we look at Avatar, you've got the Mini 1S, the Pro, the V2, the Moonlight, the GT. Why don't we have these in Ascent? Equivalents. 1 watt VTXs. I don't care about 4 watt VTXs from Caddx for Ascent. No one needs a 4 watt VTX in the hobby. Where are the the additional VTXs for Ascent. This is the weird bit I don't get. I absolutely... Yeah, there's a Ascent GT4 what? Again, more power to get cut through noise. But where is the additional products? To me, it doesn't make sense. Okay, you can argue that Caddx is trying to keep this as a budget option, and that's all they're intending to do. Maybe they are absolutely creating product segmentation, and they're saying, you know what, you want proper FPV, you got to buy Avata. Or if you want budget FPV, you buy Ascent. Why can I not get to the fucking list? Maybe that's the plan. Ascent is for whoops and conflict. It's quite an interesting mix, isn't it? We like the whoop, but we like the bombs. quite I thought I saw a short from TMC with an Ascent chronometric gimbal. Yeah, I believe so. I think the bigger VTX does. The only thing I have come to, I have a suspicion. And that suspicion is based on 0 facts. Okay, so let me get this completely clear. This is conjecture, hearsay, nonsense, Mad's belief, and as Junus knows, I talk a lot of shit at times. I still get the feeling, I have a tingling in my bones. I still think whoever is behind Artlink, this cap, whoever they are, I still think they were working with or were part of Caddx. So when Caddx was designing Avatar, Caddx didn't have the RF experience to do Avatar at the beginning. I still wonder if whoever this cap is now was doing all of Caddx's work for them, exclusively for Avatar. And now this cap has branched out into doing the other Artosyn stuff. And as a result of that, Caddx are stuck in a pipeline of other products moving through being developed or not wanting to pay, or they've even lost a developer or something. Something feels odd about this, okay? I do, you know, we've had some names about this Cap company and who they are, but I just wonder if Cap was whoever is behind this, and this is why Caddx have suddenly got slower. Because, you know, they are at a crawling pace right now. Cap is providing software stacks for Artosyn chipsets. Yeah, I also think Cap is behind the reference design, because all of the other Artosyn stuff is reference design. Caddx isn't. See, remember, Caddx is laying their own hardware. Even in the teardown images of the goggles, Caddx is completely laying their own hardware, even in the goggles. Whereas these other companies are using modules. So, yeah, look, I still just get a bit of a feeling in my bones. There's an overlap here we don't understand. And that might be why things have slowed down. But look, positive news. I will order one when I can do it. I can't order it yet. It's not available. We've got to wait. I don't really understand why there's a lot of fuss about a VTX in the sense of an 11th launch. You know, it's not a freaking drone. Why not just drop the bloody thing and let people pre-order? I don't really get the build-up. You know, it's a VTX. Come on. You know, we don't need an entire freaking marketing campaign for a VTX. Why not just go, hey, you can order this from April the 13th and put it up on the website? You know. The GT2, GT1 versus GT2. Donut Labs, like 6 weeks out battery tests. Yeah, there's still bullshit there as well. Reminds me of a song. So, okay. Now, whilst we're on digital, it's time to talk about this. The HGLRC Draco. Now, we've talked about this a few times on the channel. This is another digital FPV system that was coming that we... Basically, I have said from the beginning this is going to be Artosyn. I tell you why. Because look at the OSD overlay. They show you in the image. Where is it? We're down here somewhere. Down there, look. That has got the same OSD as the Artlink system. When you were looking. Here, look. It's the same layout along the bottom. However, they have finally officially put a post out saying HGLRC Draco HD VTX is one of the core products in the Artlink HD VTX system, which committed to building a stable, low latency and high definition video transmission link for users. Just notice, not low cost. Notice the word there. Low cost. Artosyn inside and CAP supported. The Artlink system is based on Artosyn's AR803X chipset platform with comprehensive solutions and technical support provided by CAP. It adopts a unified Artlink wireless HD transmission protocol, ensuring strong compatibility and seamless integrated connectivity among devices from different manufacturers that use the same protocol. Artlink HD digital HD transmission ecosystem. The Artlink ecosystem is designed as an open and collaborative FPV HD transmission platform. I take umbrage with them saying it's open. It is not open. It is not open in any way, and that is absolute bullshit and needs to be called out. It is not open source. There is not a single element of this system that is open, and that is fucking lies, and it is as simple as that. Moving forward, it integrates a wide range of components from different brands, including ear units, FPV goggles, receivers and drones, forming a comprehensive application chain. Within the Artlink ecosystem, Beta FPV has already introduced products such as the P1 ear unit and VR04 HD and 04 Pro goggles. Devices built within the same ecosystem are fully interoperable and seamlessly connect with the HGLRC Draco system. Now, that is a very interesting statement in itself, because that is one brand marketing another brand. Okay? That tells me there is some exclusive deals here. That tells me they are not making goggles. That tells me that you're allowed to do this, you're allowed to do that, and you're allowed to do that, and you can all work together. That's what that means. A key part of this ecosystem, the Draco system, is not just a video transmission device, but also an integral journey of standardized HD system. Proprietary standardized HD system. With more brands and developers joining, Artlink ecosystem will continue to expand. So, CAP are clearly wanting to try and take the digital market. Now, there is absolutely good here, but this is also a very dangerous thing as well. And the very dangerous thing is multiple manufacturers making their own hardware and how that all behaves. Making something like this compatible will be very interesting to see. What it tells me is I don't think they're doing their own firmware at this point. Frankly, I don't think they're doing their own firmware. I think basically these companies are being allowed to push out hardware with their own casing design, but it'll all be the same reference design inside. And they will all just be smashing out cheap hardware. I say cheap. We'll talk about that in a minute. Someone just asked, will there ever be able to buy an Artlink chip? No, it's Artosyn. It's the Artosyn AT30. No, it's not off the shelf. So look, there is some good here, but it is there is also nonsense appearing. And the risk you have here is this. We've seen this with ELRS and others. Loads of companies hopping on board with cheap hardware and getting free software. And that's what this feels like right now. And it might not be free for us, but someone is providing it to them. Now, I have reached out to HGLRC to see if they want to send me a unit. Probably not after what I've just said. They do have some info on their website now, including pricing, and be ready. This is not cheap. The ground unit is good money, $149.99 for the VRX module. That is absolutely fair. Nothing wrong with that. However, when it comes to the ear units, they're priced at $169.99 and $199.99. Now, this is a more reasonable pricing. The reality and the truth is, the price that Caddx and Beta FPV are selling this for is madness. Don't think for 1 minute $39, $40 VTXs is a reality. It's nonsense. They are, even if they are making $5, they are not remotely in a viable business. And just to give you an idea, because everyone gets completely crazy numbers in their head around the volume of FPV. It is estimated the total global pilot count is somewhere, ignoring Ukraine, okay, is somewhere between 300 and 500,000 pilots across the board. Okay? When it comes to selling digital FPV systems and goggles and things like this, someone said to me the other day, oh, you know, why are FPV goggles so expensive? Because the volume on these things is minuscule. And just to give you an idea, most high-end goggle manufacturers are selling a few thousand max. HGO2s, they're not selling, outside of Ukraine, they're not selling 10,000 goggles, 20,000, 30,000 goggles. I did some math on Fat Shark when Red Cat bought them, and we were looking, when I did the math, if I remember, it was about 6,000 units a year on all of Fat Shark's products, I may add. When it comes to digital, if you want my bets, in FPV, Caddx have probably sold 30 to 40,000 units in total. I bet Artlink, Avata, Ascent hasn't reached 5,000 units for the public. I bet they're a few K at best. When it comes to something like this, they're probably selling a few thousand units at most. So this pricing is more realistic than the $35 you're seeing from Beta FPV. But the problem is this becomes dead in the water at this point because it's DJI pricing for a lot less functionality. And that is the problem here. No, it's the same latency, apparently. It is DJI pricing for the same money. And that isn't a shock. No one should be surprised that a new entrant enters the industry more expensive and has less features than DJI. Because, frankly, DJI is giving it away. Even 04 is insanely cheap for what it is. When you look at this, 04 Lite is an absolute bargain. Avatar HD is cheaper. You know, there is not big volumes here. And the pricing, as we've seen from Beta FPV and Caddx, isn't viable. If you think about it, let's just say, right? I don't know. Let's just say they sell 8,000 units and they're making $5 on a VTX. That's 40 grand. 40 grand isn't paying for the cost of the molding for the fucking VRX. There is no money here. There is a race to the bottom beyond a joke with these digital FPV. And look, I am still highly critical of the fact that paying less for something shitter is bad value. It is bad value. Cheap and bad is not good value. Cheap and on par with something more expensive is good value. And this is the problem we have today. And look, I'm going to get this in. I want to talk about it. I like, actually, Artlink. I have openly said I actually really like how Artlink behaves. A lot better than Ascent. Artlink is a lot better than Ascent at the moment. I like... So if this works as well as Artlink, that's actually a really good thing. I like it. For the money, it's actually decent value. You know, $150 VRX and a $35 VTX is great. My problem is, how long will you be able to buy it? If you're a guy who just buys 10 VTXs and is happy with them for the rest of his life, that's great. But I have to look at things with a longer view of what is the product, what is the platform, where will it end up? What is interesting behind all of this, though, is there is a prime mover here in the background. And that prime mover is Cap. And they are clearly calling the shots. And again, I go back to where I said earlier, they are talking about beta FPV in their marketing. That is a real tell for me. Because, look, brands don't talk about other brands. Brands do not talk about other brands. The fact they are somewhat tells me they've all been told, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. Makes you even wonder, could it even be Caddx behind this? Could Cap be Caddx? Or someone from Caddx? Or someone from Artosyn? We just don't know. Ascent is not part of this deal, no. Ascent is a separate standalone product. Yeah, look, no, okay, we do know a little bit about Artosyn. So, what I can tell you is, I've got something I'm going to publish in a video very soon, which is going to cause some upset, is there is a bunch of information out there. Artosyn are basically going public. Okay? So Artosyn are behind the chipset, and they are basically going IPO public in China. And as a result of that, a huge amount of information has been dumped if you know where to look. And there is a lot of incredibly interesting things in that information when you look at it. You learn about the amount of money that they're making. Artosyn is Artosyn. The company has a different name. Artosyn have been around a very long time. They used to work with DJ. Artosyn have been around since like 2010 or 2009, 2010. They've been around a very, very long time. They're not a new business. But Artosyn have absolutely refocused their efforts back on drones. So, just so people understand the story, Artosyn worked with DJI on Lightbridge. Early versions of Lightbridge have Artosyn chipsets in them. So, if you go to FPV Wiki, right? If we go to here, for those who don't know, Artosyn isn't lead core. Artosyn isn't using lead core. Artosyn is using WiMAX. Artosyn have not moved to lead core. So, when you go, and if we go and have a look at digital FPV history, early DJI products, here you go, here's a core board from a Phantom. Notice the chipset. Artosyn. Lightbridge 1 was Artosyn based. There you go. You can see the board there. The AR 8001. They've been around a very, very long time. So, anyway, DJI migrated from Artosyn to Leadcore and left Artosyn behind. So DJI had Lightbridge, which is WiMAX based. Lightbridge has always been WiMAX based. And with the release of the Mavic, the very first Mavic, I remember the day it happened, DJI introduced a brand new system they'd been developing, which is Lightbridge. Sorry, not Lightbridge, OcuSync. And OcuSync was based on Leadcore. Here is the main PCB from the original Mavic Pro. You can see the Leadcore chipset there. This was before the P1. But there's the Leadcore. All Leadcore. And they were basically running OcuSync 1 on the Leadcore chip. And then they transitioned from the Leadcore chip to the P1, which is in essence a cut back version. More, it's an ASIC, but it's derived from the Leadcore. What we think happened, and this is still all speculation, is it appears Leadcore basically went under and that IP was acquired by DJI and they did it themselves. Loosely. But there are versions of the Mavic 1 remote that have the P1 in with the drone having Leadcore. They were interchangeable. You could have the remote with the P1 and the drone with the Leadcore chip. And there are actually, for those who've been around long enough, there are versions of the DJI goggles. Who remembers the DJI original goggles? DJI goggles white before the RE. These things, for those who remember these things, right? I had these. I have a video on these damn things. Come on, CX. There you go. I might have to buy a set of them for $80. I might buy a set of these and tear them down for 80 quid. That's worth it. That is worth it for 80 quid. These, there are the early versions of these goggles had the Leadcore chip in. And there are some issues with the early versions not working properly with the Mavic 2. And DJI was swapping them out for people. And the version they were swapping them out to had the P1. There was some incompatibility there. I might buy a set of them and rip them apart. But yes, so DJI did that. But DJI left Artosyn behind at this point. They were gone, out the door. Thank you, but no thank you. They did use it a little bit in Lightbridge 2. If we go, that's a Mavic 2 Pro board. Notice, interestingly, on the Mavic 2 Pro, they still had the Leadcore. And then they migrated. This chip, I would love to find. Me and Junus have talked about this chip before. Right. This chip is right in the transition. It's got a labeling on it we've never heard. And it is in a specific B variant of the remote controller, which was shipped with the Enterprise version of the Mavic 2. I would love to see that chip properly, because it isn't the same logo as the Leadcore, which you see here. It is slightly different. It's a different logo. It's not the same 100%. But it also has these additional markings down the bottom. We would love to get that in thing. H3, which is an all-winner chip. Yeah, DJI using all-winner in the early days, if I remember. And then we migrated into the P1. Okay? So, look, that's where DJI went. However, Artosyn at this point, having lost their relationship with DJI, actually pivoted into AI. And they spent the next few years doing a lot of AI vision-based processors, AI chips for use in cameras. They actually have a lot of ICs, Artosyn, also used in thermal cameras. A lot of the cheap thermal cameras on the market are using Artosyn chips. Things like this. The Thermal Master. These Thermal Masters, a lot of these cameras are using vision chips from Artosyn. Their chips pop up in all sorts of stuff. So, they pivoted to AI. They did still have the AR series, which is the 9201, which we have in Avata, which has been around from about 2018, 2019. They were still messing around. Artlink was still here. They hadn't got rid of it, but it certainly wasn't a big push. However, Artosyn have now openly said that they are re-pivoting back to FPV and away from AI. Probably because they're realizing they can't make money in AI. So they are absolutely refocusing back on drones and drones predominantly. Now, there is this document which I found, which has a huge amount of information about Artosyn's IPO. I did shove it into Claude and asked it to summarize it for me. And it tells you a lot about how much money Artosyn are making from sales. UAV drones worth about $38 million. Wireless wearables, $0.6 million. Technology services, 1.9. AIoT, 21 million. If you look at their income, the majority of Artosyn's income comes from drones. The majority of it comes from drones. They are, though, losing money. Better last year than this year. But if you look at 2023, they lost 43 million. 2024, they lost 30 million. And the 9 months of September 2025, when this document was published, they lost 0.3 million. So they are getting close to being profitable. They are talking about their trend is positively going that. And they do talk about in here about the 8030 series. If we talk about what is said about the AR8030. So they do talk about the AR8030X series. Okay. Yes. Right. The product that do appear are the AR95 series for smart wearables and the AR804X. They also have the 803, I believe, mentioned in there somewhere. Yes, it can't get into it. It is in there, though. When you go through it, if you control F83X, there you go. They do talk about the 8030 in here. Our SoC products and solutions support various physical configurations, meeting a variety of diverse transmission requirements. In particular, our AR803X series supports wide frequency range. They do talk about it a lot online as well. So, yeah. Basically, they're putting all of their money behind the 8030 at the moment. But look, this document has an awful lot of info in it. an awful lot of info. Quite interesting indeed. I'll be publishing that. I'll be letting... Well, it's out there now if you know where to look. But, yeah, they're not doing particularly well, but they've been around a long time. Okay. Let me go back up, because have I heard of an upcoming Skyzone digital system? Not at all. I haven't heard a single word about it. Would I be surprised? No. Skyzone are Chinese. All of these other brands are Chinese. Probably. Would I be at all shocked? Not heard a thing about it. They've not spoke to me about it. I don't really talk to Skyzone. So they have a VRX called the S10 Pro and the S10 Pro VTX coming up. Multiple cameras called... Okay, I don't know anything about it. Can't comment. Why? Am I shocked? No. If it's another Artosyn clone, then so be it. My Avatar GT kit also killed itself after I opened it. There was no thermal pads. There were a bunch of them sent out without thermal pads. Caddx had a real bad batch of GTs. Is this some kind of financial statement? There has to be, because it's part of their IPO. It is a financial statement as well, yes. There is also another digital system coming out. HGLRC with 4K recording. Never heard of that one. Where has someone seen that? Anyone got any links? If you got any links to the Skyzone one or HGLRC, I haven't seen anything on that. The problem you're getting now is lots of companies white labeling. You're going to get so many of these just clones that everyone's going to be in a freaking mess. So no, I haven't heard of anything about the Skyzone. You're the first to mention that to me. I'm intrigued at that. I'm just going to take a copy of that for later because I want to have a look up. If anyone has any info, send it over. Would I be shocked? Not at all. They're all at it now. And again, none of this has any real impact on replacing Avatar or DJI. Everything so far has been 60 frames a second, 60 milliseconds of latency. Can you tell me the DBM for a GT when in debug mode at 2 watt? I'd have to have a look. Rayola, I don't know if you can post a link. Are you on my Discord, Rayolia? I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me actually, if I make you a moderator a second. A standard moderator. Let's see if you can post the link now, my friend. Yeah, try posting it now. I've added you as a... because I can't see anything my side. But I had suppressed links. But I don't know. If not, are you on my Discord? And if not, pop it on my Discord. Aha, here they come. Ah, Taboo. Okay. Ah, yeah, they're on the chat. I haven't been on these sites for a while. Links are a bugger because if you leave links, it just... Those are the Skyzone VTX and the VRX. I'm not at all shocked that we're potentially going to see something, if I'm honest. Oh, it wants me to log in. I'll have to have a look. It wants me to log in on Tabo. I'm not logged in on there. Yeah, there's a login wall on Shows you a photo and price. Interesting. You already logged in on? Let me try an incognito window for them. Copy link. Let's see. Ah, you're in the US, are you? Yeah, no, it's taking me to... Me too, sample price. Anyone know an online website VPN? I can't think of one that will do. Pretend it's in the US. I can't enable my VPN. Let's try. Okay, let's try this. Try and proxy. Ooh, ooh. Hey! That worked. Okay. So we're going to use this to do all three. Okay. So that worked. Let's close these two. Close that. Okay, so let me get the links. Copy the link to the second one. Copy link address. We'll do this one as well. United States slow. Country, United States slow. And let's bring down the last one. Where is the last one? Where's the last one? Can't find the last one. Just use parcel up and put the ID in there. I seem to have lost the last one. Have you... Go to site. Go to site. Ah, the TGIT link is too long. Right, okay. So, when Sky Zone eventually comes up. So yeah, that pricing is definitely a placeholder, isn't it? Interesting. And then there's a... God, it looks an awful lot like the Sky. Doesn't that look an awful lot like the HGLRC as well? Where's the HGLRC? It's not exactly the same, but it is probably worth... I'm assuming you mean that orange button. Aha. Right there. Someone said, I think Raphael sent me a better link. Let's have a look. Verify we're human. Oh, God. Right, okay. So, there we go. The Sky Zone. Yeah, it stinks of it being another one, doesn't it? Photo description, load photos and description. It smells of being another Artosyn, doesn't it, huh? Okay. Here we go. Oh, yeah, it is. Look, it says Artosyn inside, cap supported. Ha, ha, ha. There you go. Another 1080p, 60 frames a second. Yeah. I said, mark my words. The words I used was, this is going to end up a fucking mess of fragmentation. And here we are. Oh, look. A full-size HDMI port. Just like a cent. Just perfect for every goggle that doesn't take a full-size HDMI port. That looks like a full size to me. Are they saying the RF power? If you're on my Discord, really, or are you on my Discord? If not, so look, Sky Zone looks to be Artosyn. How do I, if I open that there, so if I want, is it, which code do I want for this? For the end? Is it the, is that ending in T? That does 65. Which code is he putting into that link? Just trying to see what code you were putting in. 106B. I'm not seeing it. They're probably using another chipset for recording, if I'm honest. 622. So this has the code 106B7. Where's that? No. Yeah, I can't get to that one either. Copy link address. And if I just put that into there a minute. So what number are we using on this? If you look here, parcelup.com item. Let me try this. So we want the 106B. So that had, I don't see what, check the Skydome VTX. Try this, copy link. I can't seem to get to that. Okay. So that is interesting. Look, okay, I can't, I'm trying to figure out how I get to that on the Raphael, how did you do that? You've got a code on this, Item code 1039. Where did you pull the item code from? I'm not seeing the item code in... Where are they? 1039. Ah, it's there, look. 208. Hash. 622. Where's the rest of that number come from? 1039. 10... So let me try this. Let's see if this works. Notepad. I didn't want Notepad++. I wanted Notepad. Just want Notepad, not Notepad++. Oh, where's Chrome gone? Has Chrome just closed all my windows? Whoa, that's weird. Chrome, so that just all closed all my windows. Right, okay, so I need the second link. Where's the second link? Second link. Copy link address. Put that down into there. And no, I don't actually. I want that in Chrome. Did Chrome just crash out? Yes, I want to go to the side and I want to grab the bollocks. It hid the number. Bollocks, it's going to there. Ah, I've had enough now. Just catching down. Yeah, I'll have to do it when I'm on the VPN. I can't do it. I'll have to have a proper look when I'm on the VPN. That's interesting that there is... yeah, there is more coming. Right. The last thing I need to talk about is this. Hope all my IO protection is turned on. This is what Boomersting hacking looks like. Don't have an intrusion. Yeah, look, I'll we'll have a look at the links. What I want to do is just grab the links, copy link address. I just want to get all of these down ready, just so I've got them for later, and then we'll move on. Copy link address. Save that for later. Oh, Raphael has got one. Oh, this is chugging. Let's have a look. Open item page. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. What is the colour on that? Oh my god, look at that. Can we make the images bigger? Wow. What is that? What's that about? Spiritual knowledge, pure transmission, 1 watt, 2 watt. Night vision, 2 watt. Let's have a look at this VTX in a bit more detail. You can't knock the casing. You can't knock the casing. So, let's load the photos and description. It's definitely an Artlink system, and I can tell you why already. The camera. It's the same camera. It's another one. It's another one. Definitely another one. These are images, so it's not easy to translate. Oh, look at the color on that. That's going to be a pig to mount. You're interesting. Just wait a minute. Wait a minute. I fucking swear that's the same camera. I saw a picture. Look. Same camera. I know that's a render. It's the same camera. It literally is the same camera. And that'll be the thermal camera, I guess. That's another one. Mark my words, that's another one. Black PCB on one. Yeah, but I don't even... That's not even... Interesting. It's another kit. We are heading for major fragmentation. Major fragmentation. Not necessarily a good thing. Okay, so the next thing I just want to talk about is the memory crisis, because we're starting to see the bite, the effect of the AI revolution, as they say. A post was popped up on Facebook, and my understanding is this probably shouldn't have gone up the way it did from a dealer. Let me just find it. But it did. And this post is as follows, which is from a Radio Master dealer that says, due to global flash memory supply issues, Radio Master is making a hardware adjustment on the TX15 and the new TX16 Mark III. They're going to be reducing the onboard eMMC storage from 4 gig down to 512 megabyte. There is no price increase coming, but they are having to reduce the onboard storage to maintain the current pricing of the radio. Now, I have spoke to Radio Master about this, had a quick chat with the amazing guy there. And the problem is a bit twofold. It's not even as simple as putting the price up. The 4 gig chips are literally impossible to get, as I understand. They just can't even buy them. It's not even about, oh, we can put $10 on the radio's price. They can't even get a supply of the 4 gig chips to continue production. So as a result of this, they're having to not only downsize, the cost has gone up massively. Even 2 gig probably isn't available. The costing of NAND, RAM and everything has gone up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-fold. The one thing to understand on this, though, is there's a lot of confusion around this. This is the NAND eMMC storage. So this isn't the RAM, the Radio Master radio. So here is the inside of a TX15. Just so you can see, this is literally the PCB from a TX15. I have a spare one. Okay, for reasons. And everything is on board this main little PCB down here. So if we zoom in, this is the module which has the H7 CPU. It has the additional memory, the RAM, and it has here the flash storage, 4 gigabytes. Okay, so they're going to be reducing that to 512 megabytes. However, you can still fit an SD card in this radio if you want to. One of the changes Radio Master made was, instead of putting an SD card in the radio, they put in 4 gigs of storage for your models, your accessories and everything. And that is what they did. So if you need more storage, all you need to do is put an SD card in the back of the radio. The slot is there. You can get to it from the battery bay. It's not inaccessible. It's there. It's fine. You just need to put the card in. The very basics are, they are, yes, giving you a little bit less. But if you want more, you're not stuck. You can simply put your card in the back. Now, obviously, I know Radio Master would have preferred not to do this. However, they basically don't have a choice. And this is probably the beginnings of the effect of the memory shortage hitting drones and FPV. And mark my words, it's coming. The price can't go down because the chips have quadrupled in price. It is very likely the 512 costs more than they were paying for the 4 gig. Don't think they're getting it cheaper. They're probably still paying more for the 512 than they were paying for the 4. NAND and storage and memory pricing has gone through the roof. Why is there a storage shortage? Someone asks. AI is swallowing everything. You have had basically all the big major memory manufacturers pull out of the consumer market and say, fuck you. And they're putting all of their money into AI. If you want to see how much NAND pricing has changed, let me see if I can find a chart. It's about 5 times. 5 to 6 times is the estimate of what memory pricing has. Trying to find a good chart. Which memory company to invest? Yeah. I'm trying to find a good chart. It is insane. Oh, RAM has gone through the roof. Like, I'm a rich man with the RAM I've got on my PC there. You know, we talked about that on the channel before. But I'm trying to find you a good chart of memory pricing. I'm trying to find a good chart. Just to give you an idea, this is how much RAM has gone up. When I bought the RAM for my PC, it was $250 and now it's $1,000. Most NAND storage has gone up sort of 5 to 6%. DDR5 is going down now. Watch this space. It's still a bit like this. Pricing is crashing in China. We're going to have to wait and see what happens around the rest of the world. Yeah, mine I'd bought for $250 was like $1,000. They were just insane. Just insane. It's a big problem. So, look, Radio Master, again, there's no way the price of the radio can come down when the memory is already going through the roof. I don't know what DDR costs today. 128. Let me have a quick look on scan. I know what I paid. Oh, yeah. I wish I messed up. I sent some stuff back just before this all hit. What's RAM now? Let's have a look. DDR5, 6,000 is what I've got. $32 gigs. I want 2 32s. So 64. Here we go. I was paying like 250 quid for them. That's what I've got in mine. I got 2 of those packs in my machine. So it's gone up that much. That's $2,000 now. I have 128 gigs in there. Look, you can see them. It's the Vengeance RGB. It's those ones there, in fact. Are they those ones? No, mine are the Dominators. Sorry. TX16 Mark III. There we go. Oh no, the Dominators. The Dominator. Where are the Dominators? Dominator. 2 32 gig sticks. Come on. Where are the DOMs? There they are. Yeah, 991. Look, fucking hell. Woohoo! I think I paid about 199 quid when I ordered them. I'll tell you how much I paid. 1 second. Let me take that off the screen. Order history. I'll tell you what I paid because my order history will be here. I've just seen the order I sent back. Fucking hell. Look at this, right? This is scary. This is the order I sent back, right? 1 stick of 16 gig, 85 quid, right? Now, That's 199. That was one stick. Let me find what I ordered. Here we go. Ah, yes. So look. So I paid 250. 2 sticks of that was 250 each, 500. So it's gone up times 4 because that was 500 quid. So I paid 500 quid, and it's now for one pack 1,000. So yeah, times 4. Yeah, honestly, I should. If you imagine you'd have bought RAM, I put in 128 gigs when I built that machine. Crazy. So look, price isn't going to go down simply because they're paying more for it, but you're going to get less. You're going to get a little bit of less memory, but you can still put your SD card in. Yeah, look, you can look at the RAM market. It's just gone. NAND sort of fell behind. Here you can see desktop memory price trends on PC Park Picker. DDR5 6000. Look at that. There you go. Look at that increase. How long is it? Well, there's a talk of a crash in China. There is talk of DRAM prices have crashed in China this week. Once the crash comes, it's going to come hard. Trust me. Yeah, I could sell my memory. It's like $2,000 worth of memory in that machine now. It's fucking madness. It's just madness. I could sell me memory and buy myself an RTX 5090. Storage. Look, see now, storage has gone up. NVMe, 1 terabyte. Oh no, which one's that? Yeah, look at storage. Storage has gone up a lot as well. Good luck finding a 5090 for 2K. All right, spoil my bloody thing. How much is a 5090 now? Let's have a look. You got me wondering. How much is a 5090 now? Come on then. Come on in. Fuck. How much? Jesus. I messed up. I should have bought a 5090 when I bought my 5080. They were around 2-1. I could get one then. What I do know is I have an awful lot of RAM here laying around in digital VTXs, which I might be able to sell out. So if anyone's interested, genuinely, this will also affect digital systems, drones, everything uses RAM. Everything that exists digital, other than the new Artlink system, I will add, but everything else uses RAM. Do take into account this is going to hit a lot of stuff, okay? This is going to hit an awful lot of stuff. If I just find something to show you. And I mean action cameras and everything. It is going to cause a lot of problems across the board. I'm just trying to find an image. Where is it? No, we'll do it that one then. You know, even when you look inside things like this, right? Inside brand new drones, there is memory. That is 6 gigs inside the Avata 360. DDR5X as well. 6 gigs. You then also have the NAND storage. The eMMC in the back. So expect everything to go up. Cheap chip prices may kill cheap drones like the Mini 4K, Mini 3. I think those drones are over anyway. Those drones are using... Those drones... The Mini 3 and the Mini 4K are over. That's the Avata 360. But take into account 04 has memory, Avatar has memory, RAM, NAND. Take into account the Mini 4K and the Mini 3 are all based on the older OcuSync system as well. They're not 03. Remember, DJI Mini 4K is 02. As is the Mini 3. Those drones are dead in the water anyway at this point. There will be at some point, I guess, something new. Has DJI released any update recently related to malfunctioning memory? Yes, on the 04 Pro. But yeah, so 04 started with the Mini 3 Pro. Yes. So, you know, it's... All of these older products have to be replaced. DJI is basically replacing all of their older products now, other than a few enterprise ones. There's a few ents that still use them. But, well, it's not known to be malfunctioning memory. All we know is DJI have released updates and we think it was related to RAM. We don't know it was the memory, but that's what changed. 2026 production DJI 04 Air units are using different RAM, and as a result of them using different RAM, it seems that there's failure. But there has been a bit of a memory price crash in China. Saw that yesterday. Started. DDR5 prices in China face a complete collapse. 15% drop in a week. So, but yeah, look, all of these products, a lot of everything is using DRAM. And with everything using DRAM, there's a problem. That's the issue. You know, if you actually take into account, here's a bit of an interesting difference. Caddx's Ascent goggles use DRAM, but the Beta FPV ones don't. Yeah, they'll come down eventually. Yeah, it's inevitable. The crash is going to happen. Look, there is absolutely an AI crash, and mark my words, I'm a pretty firm believer. I think OpenAI will collapse. If you want my opinion, I think OpenAI is a pyramid scheme and will probably collapse. I think OpenAI will be the first and the biggest to go. I don't think they really have a business model other than selling your data to the government, and Sam Altman is about as far from trustworthy as there exists. If you follow anything with AI, go look at the team behind Google, DeepMinds, and the whole Google side of it. There's some very good people behind some of the stuff that Google is doing. And when I say good people, they're at least behaving like humans, not absolute fucking lunatics like Musk and freaking Altman. Even the head of Anthropic is murky. But go do yourself a favor Go have a listen to some interviews with Demis Hassabis. I can't say his name properly. Go do yourself a favor. Go listen to some interviews with this guy about AI. And these are the people you really want to start pushing it. These are the people who, to give you an idea, he was talking in an interview and basically he was saying a really interesting comment. He's been involved in this for a very long time. If they'd have held back and all worked together for 5 years, they reckon they could have cured cancer. Yet, unfortunately, the likes of OpenAI and Anthropic rushed to market to do a money grab of as much money as they could and started the war we're in today. When you listen to Demis and the work he's done and what he is and what he stands for, you actually sit back and go, why is everything we hear about AI, Musk, freaking Altman, and a bit more now about the Anthropic guy, why are these guys the poster children for AI? You've got these tech billionaires who are insane. Don't be under any illusion that these guys are. Bearing in mind, Altman has openly said he thinks AI will end the world, yet he's continuing to push ahead with it. We can, just stop. But you listen to the work Demis has done and the others, and yeah, and then there's Palantir. Don't even go there with the PayPal mafia and Palantir. Once you get into that, go dig yourself into that whole world of pain. You will understand that there are 10 or 20 people basically running the planet whose only interest is themselves, and it is literally, they don't really care what happens to anyone else. Yeah, Alex Cup, there's a bunch of really good guys, but Demis is in charge of Google's AI project, just to give you an idea. And just go listen to some interviews with him, and then go listen to an Altman interview. Listen to a Sam Altman interview about how everything is about money. When you listen to Sam Altman, everything is about how to monetize AI, how to basically control everything with AI, and how they're going to control everything. And then go listen to Demis talk about how they solved the folding protein issues, how AI could help with disease and improve things. You listen to anything Altman says, it's all about money, 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 and control. The newer DJI drones will have basic AI built in. I guess I don't know anything about an Inspire 4. I can see DJI dumping the Inspire series, I'll be honest. I could see them coming with something completely new next. I could see that. I could see DJI dumping the Inspire. I could see it's time for a new platform there. Money makes the world go round. I've heard there's rumours of these things. Lito, is it? I don't know. Well, if you're DJI cheaper drones, there's and we're in a world with fucking Altman and these nut jobs are. And do you know what the crazy one is? I actually think the head of NVIDIA Oh, Jensen, I think he's actually lost the plot. I actually think he's lost the plot. If you listen to Jensen these days, it's like, woohoo! You're almost expecting him to come on and go, woohoo! AI. You know, some of this, how he's talking about war and war fighters, it's just insane. It's like they're saying the things you should never say out loud now. Yeah, honestly, Jensen has talk about jump the shark. He seems to have it's so bad it's insane. And yeah, but do yourself a favor. Go listen to a Demis interview. If you're at all interested in AI and real AI of what it is and what the benefit to humanity could be, go listen to an interview with Demis. He is you'll never find an honest rich man. I'm not sure. There are good people out there. It's a very strange world we find ourselves in today, especially with the way these companies are. Their only interest is control. Look, you know, if any of you watch GN, you know you'll get what you're given and like it. They don't want you to own anything, and there is a truth of element. There is an element of truth to this from these big companies. They want to control all the compute, and you will rent the compute back. You building your own computer at home or having home compute, they're like, no. We want to watch. And once you get down the road of Palantir, Jesus, you're into fucking. Has anyone other than HT0 made a low latency anti-blue analog to HDMI converter? Not that I'm aware of. You will eat the bugs. Yes, we've ended up in a weird place, folks. And on that note, it's time to end this AI dystopian live stream of hell. Do yourself a favor, though. Genuinely, go check out a Demis video if you're really interested. His Deep Minds podcast with Hannah Frey is particularly good as well. Really worth a look if you're interested. That's it. There's been some news this week. There may be some more news next week. I don't know. Anything could happen in the world we're in today. Thank you for watching. Thanks to everyone who has donated a super chat. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you soon.